Good evening. Day 30 of 31. I thought it was a 30-day challenge, but they're squeaking an extra day out of me. But that's okay. That's okay. I was hearing, looking into a lot of different topics, and as an older person, it just becomes more difficult to change yourself, to change your habits, right? We've all heard you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And you can, it's just definitely a lot harder. So I've been looking into psychedelics and their role or their benefit in helping to change non-productive ways of thinking. And it seems that there's a lot of benefit for people with PTSD, that it just helps you get out of negative thought patterns. And it can also help you set new ones in. And that's a little bit of what I think I need some help with. Now, the little problem that I have here is I don't know if this is after 2 years of sobriety from alcohol and about a year and a half of being clean, which is in relation to drugs, meaning marijuana. That am I finding another way to get my fix, to have some sort of drug-seeking behavior and looking for creating an excuse. So we'll see. I think I'll experiment with some microdosing and set some clear intentions on where I'm trying to go with it and what I'm trying to help myself with. And a lot of it just comes into these thought patterns that I've been having about not doing things alone, because I learn better in a group environment. That sitting down and just doing some good old-fashioned studying and hard work isn't the way that I learn best, or things like that. So I think I'm gonna look into doing that. The experience that I have with psychedelics in the past has been macrodosing or megadosing, and it was a few times I would take them at places like the Natural History Museum in Manhattan, and I'd be standing under a triceratops, like kind of losing my marbles and watching all these things and looking at all these bones, and they basically seem like they're alive, and be walking around Manhattan, go to the Guggenheim, which is like a modern art museum, or the Museum of Modern Art, or the MoMA, and when you're looking at a Monet's lilies on the water, like let me tell you, if you have an eighth of mushrooms in you, that water is moving. These things are breathing and are filled with life. There was this one at the Guggenheim, and it was just this like giant dog, and it was almost like a cartoon style drawing, and it was just so intense, and it was great. And it was me and two friends that had eaten mushrooms, and then this one guy was with us, and he took ecstasy, and it was so weird having an ecstasy clinger around while we were tripping our faces off looking at these art exhibits. And then all of a sudden you got somebody like sticking their head on your shoulder and their jaws flying all over the place, like, oh wow, this looks really cool. And and you're just like, could you please get off me? Like, get away. And then there's the get away, and you're getting hit with these waves of intensity, and then you can sort of feel bad because you're rejecting the person on ecstasy, and they're all upset, and then you're like, it's too much. We had this one time where they were doing construction between the Natural History Museum. This is when they were beginning to connect them, and the Natural History Museum and the Hayden Planetarium. And we had eaten these mushrooms, and my buddy was like, we couldn't get into the museum because it was so crowded. So we thought we would be able to get in through the planetarium, but the planetarium was being completely remodeled. So we just walked onto the construction site. And when I say a construction site, there was nothing but construction workers all around, and they don't give a shit. And we're walking, a lot of the guys were walking out, so it must have been a lunch break kind of time. And we're walking in, and we're going inside, and we're walking past the trailers that are the construction where the foremen are, and all this shit is going on. Nothing but scaffolding, white, this and that. And my buddy, good on him, he was just convinced that we were going to just walk in, and we were eventually going to just find this door and open a door, and there we would be in the museum. And as we're going deeper and deeper through, it's not working out for us. And you start feeling the pressure of the guys, the workmen, starting to look, because it was pretty clear that 4 guys in their late teens to early 20s in regular street clothes had no business being where we were. And at one point, somebody asked, hey, where are you guys going? What are you guys doing? And I'm just starting to laugh and giggle so hard. And one of the construction guys goes, holy shit, these guys are on mescaline. and I just thought that was the funniest thing in the world. And I burst out laughing. And, they're like, you can't be here. You guys got to get out of here. They didn't care at all. They were really super cool about it. They were just like, come on, follow me. And we got walked out. And, I was peaking at this point because of all of the stress of the intensity of the moment and of getting caught like that. So, if you've ever taken mushrooms or understand what it's like to be on this peak, it's this total sensory overload kind of feeling, and it's almost like a symphony that's just playing, and it's getting louder and louder and louder, and all of a sudden it's just becoming too much, and it's almost like a mini fever is breaking, yeah, we just wound up walking out. Didn't get into the museum that day, and wound up just tripping through Central Park. And eventually met up with my friend's dad. He was a doctor, and he wanted to have dinner at the Palm. So after we come down, we go into the Palm restaurant, into this like premier steakhouse, and the trails are still going on, and kind of had to sit there through dinner, and just a really intense experience. It's not what I'm after now. At least I don't think so. I'd probably have to be in the woods, or maybe under the full moon, or in some sort of nature environment to handle something like that. Not that I couldn't handle it, it just doesn't seem like it would be very pleasurable. But what do I know? But I do know that after I would do those things and have those experiences, I would just feel great for an extended period of time. I had a lot of good feelings, and I can see how it helped me cope with certain stresses that I was going through. I could also see how I was just getting fucked up. I mean, there's no doubt about that. So I'm not going to lie to myself and claim I was out for having therapeutic experiences, but it does make you able to make peace with some things and move forward on others, and really change the way that you're thinking. And maybe because you're preoccupied with the experience that you had, the sounds, the senses being on fire, that it allows you to have these kind of shifts. So, in this dry fasting community that I found, they talk about using psychedelics in concert with the dry fasting. So we'll have to do a bit more research on that and see if that's in the cards. I still do have kids, little kids. I don't need them seeing daddy acting the fool or being unsafe or anything like that. So we'll have to do some research on this and see when it's best to have some of these moments. So, all right. Well, thanks for listening. Stay tuned. See you tomorrow.